Good evening. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Please stand and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. Right. Our first order of business is to review the consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Madam Chair, I move that we adopt the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Awesome. Is there any discussion? Nope. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries 5-0. Next up is our most exciting part of the night, our spotlight on. This evening, we have Sherwood High School Associate Principal Mike Stead to recognize our National Merit finalists.
Good evening, Chair Hawkins, Superintendent Lyon, Board of Directors. Today, I am excited and happy on behalf of Sherwood High School to announce that SHS senior Kathleen Mehta has been named a National Merit finalist. Approximately 16,000 students nationwide were selected and had the opportunity to move forward. From there, there will be about 7,500 National Merit scholarships worth over $30 million that will be awarded. And we are lucky to have a finalist at Sherwood High School. A little bit about Kathleen. Kathleen has a 4.0 unweighted and 4.541 weighted GPA. She is currently entertaining multiple offers to attend a four-year university next year and is yet to finalize that decision. She has taken 9 AP courses at Sherwood High School, currently enrolled in 3, previously has taken 6. She is, in addition to being a stellar student, heavily involved in the Sherwood High School community. She is in the National Honor Society and Trap Club at Sherwood High School. She is also a varsity cheerleader for the last 3 years at Sherwood High School and currently serves as the captain of our cheer team. Outside of school, she is heavily involved in youth group and also fencing, and was joined tonight by her dad, Chet. So we just wanted to acknowledge and thank Kathleen for all of her hard work in the classroom, outside the classroom, and all she's doing to represent Sherwood High School well. Thank you.
That's truly incredible. I don't know out of all that what you don't do, but you are very well accomplished and we are very proud of you and grateful that you're one of our students. I can't wait to hear where you go. That's exciting. Up next, we have Marika Conrad and Allison Bassich, who will be shining a spotlight on Oregon Battle of the Books. Wow, that's great.
Good evening, Board Chair Hawkins, Dr. Lyon, and Board of Directors. Thank you for having us this evening to celebrate a very special program in our district called Battle of the Books, or also known as OBOB. What is OBOB? Perfect. It is a statewide reading competition for students in grades 3 through 12. And every year, 16 books are chosen, and people who participate, or students who participate, read books from that list and then work together in small teams to answer trivia type questions against other teams who are also participating. Every year, new books are chosen at the elementary, middle school, and high school level. So it keeps things exciting and helps kids want to keep coming back year after year.
There are a lot of benefits for participating in Oregon Battle of the Books, one of which is students read books from new genres, and oftentimes they discover they enjoy reading those new genres. Also, they're exposed to new series and new authors. Another great benefit is they develop camaraderie through teamwork. Students collaborate and compete together. It's an excellent opportunity to practice sportsmanship. But I believe the best benefit of all is the increased reading volume that ultimately results in stronger readers. Who is involved in Sherwood? Students in 3rd through 8th grade. In 2022 and 2023, we had about 325 students participate in Battle of the Books.
There's quite a bit involved in keeping this program running in our district, and it's definitely chaired at each level, each school. Acquiring books every year is the biggest challenge because purchasing those books and having easy access in the classroom is really important to help kids stay involved and be successful. In addition, at each school, teachers typically or teachers or coaches organize the teams. And then students have to be trained and understand how the battles work and know what to expect. And we support often some practice opportunities for students to be successful. And then there's a lot of work in communicating with families and staff and students who are involved.
Okay, this slide shows the winning teams that will be participating at this weekend's regional. From Archer Glen, we have the Wild Book Club, and from Hawksview, Fiction Addiction.
Our winning teams at Middleton, well, I'm not sure where the text is. There is text that says their name. They are the Story Thieves. And then at the Ridges, we have the ABCDs. And now I'm going to turn it over to Audrey Johnson, who is a current middle schooler at Sherwood Middle School, to tell you a little bit about what OBOB is like at the middle school.
Good evening, Dr. Lyon, Board Chair Hawkins, and board members. My name is Audrey Johnson, and I am a sixth grader at Sherwood Middle School. I'm excited to share with you a little bit about my OBOB experience with you tonight. This is my fourth year participating in OBOB. Every year for me has looked a little bit different with COVID impacting our battles for my fourth and fifth grade years. But thanks to our amazing teachers, I've still been able to participate each year, even if it was only on Zoom. This year, I am on a team with my friends Ava, Casey, and Grace, and our team will be attending regionals for the middle school level in Rockaway on March 18th. Some of our favorite OBOB books from this year include Total Eclipse of Nestor Lopez, We Are Not From Here, and While I Was Away. Our team read a total of 16 books and used several flex time periods to practice and compete our battles. We want to also congratulate the other middle school team, the Literary Coven, for 6 days of battles to select the winning SMS team. They did a great job too. OBOB has encouraged me to read books from genres and authors that I might not have read otherwise. I've found a lot of new favorite books from the OBOB lists over the years. Working on a team has also given us a chance to practice good sportsmanship and work together. I've also enjoyed being on being the team captain and taking on that leadership role at some times. We would especially like to thank the Beta Beta Education Foundation for providing sets of OBOB books for our school. We appreciate their support. We would also like to thank Ms. Workman for all the time and effort she has invested in the SMS OBOB program. She made all the OBOB flex times so much fun. Thank you for letting me share a little bit about my OBOB experience with you tonight. I am grateful to be in a district that values reading and participates in such a fun event each year. Thank you.
Oregon Battle of the Books only happens in Sherwood with volunteer support throughout our district. We want to give a special thanks to Sherwood Education Foundation for funding class sets of books throughout the grant process at the elementary level this year and many years prior. School level PACs for volunteering and financial support, administrators and administrative assistants for helping so much with the schedule and logistics around the building. And we'd also like to thank Brad Baines, who has graciously offered to host the regional, and the Sherwood staff for volunteering. Thank you.
I'm really proud to be part of a district that has made OBOB happen for our students through some really challenging years. And in 2021, when we couldn't have a regional or a state battle and OBOB wasn't offering that, we as Sherwood staff made a district level battle happen. And so I'm really excited that we are back though for a regional in-person battle at Ridges this Saturday. And our 4 teams that you saw tonight at the elementary level will be there. And there will be 20 other schools represented from our local area. 2 of those teams will move on to the state level battle in April. So we're really excited to see if Sherwood will be one of those 2 teams. As OBOB wraps up for this year, titles for next year are already coming out, and we know students will be really excited to see what those are, and we're looking forward to adding those titles to our classroom. Thank you, board, for letting us share with you this evening. Oh, and do you have any questions for us or our middle school guest?
I don't have any questions, but Audrey did a wonderful job presenting. OBOB is tough. And I don't know how my kids have gotten by me that I didn't know we had OBOB in middle school. I thought it ended in elementary school. So somehow my kids.
I know she's working to enhance the program.
Yeah,
at
my
that
kids
level.
really tricked me on that one. But I have 2 kids who tried OBOB and it is tough. I mean, the amount of reading, it's great, but it was hard for them. And I remember when we studied for those battles, I mean, the question would be like, what color sweater was she wearing? And I'm like, who was that character? I don't even know her name. What color sweater? I mean, it is hard. So I know those kids study incredibly hard and those coaches put in a tremendous amount of time. So, I mean, I know I'm very appreciative that you teachers are willing to make time and space for kids to have those teams and participate. It's an amazing program.
Thank you.
So good job.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. And now it's time for Sarah McCusker to be sharing some amazing news about our own youth governor. Last up, but certainly not least.
Good evening, Board Chair Hawkins, Superintendent Lyon, and Board of Directors. Thank you for having me back again. I was just here last month to tell you about our Youth in Government Conference. It was a huge success. We had 17 students, 5 officers, 8 students had their bills signed by the youth governor. They all had an amazing time. And the most exciting part of the conference was our very own Kylie Johnson was successful in her campaign to become the next youth governor. Yay! She's going to share a little bit with you in just a minute, but I want to brag about her for a minute because she just did such a wonderful job and we're so proud of her. She had to go through a really grueling campaign, which, certainly reaching out to students individually and talking to them about who they might want to vote for, but she also had to give a formal speech and participate in 2 different debates over the period of a couple of days. And convince high school students from around the state that she would serve them best as their youth governor. And through it all, she just exhibited a lot of poise, humor, a ton of knowledge on a variety of issues, and was really able to be relatable to students from a variety of different places and backgrounds. And that's why she ended up winning. So we're very, very proud of her, and I'm excited to introduce her tonight and let her share a little bit with you about her experience.
Thank you, Ms. McCusker, and thank you all for having me here today. My name is Kylie Johnson. I'm a sophomore, and 2 weeks ago, I was elected as Oregon's 78th youth governor. And my journey to becoming youth governor has been long, challenging, transformative, and rewarding. And I have a confession for you all here today. 2 years ago, I did not know what a bill was. Aside from being related to the government, I could not tell you what it was, let alone how to write one. And around this time, social media and the internet had opened my eyes to all of the atrocities going on in the world, and this left me discouraged. I didn't know how to help. I didn't know how to make an impact. I ended up joining our high school's youth activism club as an 8th grader and went to their potluck at the end of the summer. And these 2 girls by the name of Lydia McCoy and Jessica Brannon told me about YAG, and I was only half convinced, but I still went to the meeting the next Friday, and from then on was so excited to wake up at 6:45 a.m. every Friday to go to the meeting, which says a lot. And at my freshman year conference, although it was virtual, I had so much fun. From dressing up nice to debating on bills to making friends via Zoom direct messages, I came out of conference hungry for more YAG opportunities. So that summer, I attended the YMCA's Conference on National Affairs, also referred to as CONA, where delegates write proposals on federal action, and we debate them, rank them, and the ones that are highest ranked move on to the next bracket. It's basically Youth in Government's March Madness. And that was when I decided I wanted to run for youth governor, because I genuinely loved what I was doing, and it felt like the next step in the culmination of all of my advocacy and political work. My experience running for youth governor was definitely a learning curve. I learned more about myself, more about the program, and learned what it means to truly lead a community. I spent many nights in front of my computer listening to Taylor Swift while writing speeches, designing graphics, and researching. But what I found most impactful for my campaign was connecting and talking with other YAG leaders from across the country. And as youth governor, I plan to mobilize delegates by encouraging them to testify for their own representatives and senators. I'm planning a post-conference meetup for people to reconnect with their friends that they made at conference, and also provide delegates with a range of other civics opportunities so they have several paths to pursue outside of conference. There's a lot of work ahead of me, but I love what I'm doing, and it makes my heart happy to see teenagers who came into youth in government intimidated and dreading conference, and then coming out with new friends and a newfound love for debating and legislation. Thank you.
Congratulations. I just wanted to say, because it was something I was thinking over and over again, how incredibly well-spoken you are. It's you present yourself so well, and you are so well-spoken. I can tell that you put a lot of work into what you wrote tonight, and congratulations. What a huge accomplishment. And I think I speak on behalf of the board when I say that we're really happy that you're here at Sherwood, and we're all very proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. It's not hard to listen to you for more than a couple minutes and know, like, oh, that's why she's youth governor. I'm sure you are going to have a very successful future. I'm glad you're only a sophomore, because that means we'll get to see what you have in store for the next couple of years. And that's exciting for me to get to watch kids grow over time. So that's incredible.
Thanks.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you.
Amazing work. Well, that was the most exciting part of tonight. So thank you for tuning in. The next part is our board reports. And I'll let Dr. Lane lead us on.
Thank you, Chair Hawkins, and thank you to our guests this evening. Thank you for being here. We've decided as an executive team that there's no more bad weather days coming, so that's over. And we had the pleasure of getting to know a man and his son, Trevor and Mark Johnson, who plowed the Sherwood High School parking lot for us at the 11th hour. And so for all your excavating needs, Johnson Resources is the place to go. They really did a great job for us, and we needed that high school parking lot plowed, and they did it, and they did it graciously, and really helped us out. Just very quickly, the levy work on the district side is continuing, and all of the work to develop the community engagement calendar and events that will take place after spring break, April and May, are on schedule, and I'll be sharing that in its entirety with the board, and we have activities planned. The district is providing information about the levy, not only to our staff members, but also to the community. On that side, the levy side, things are progressing on schedule, and as we want them to do. We're about to put the website up. The website will have a levy calculator on it, where you can take your tax statement and calculate to the penny exactly what the levy means for your household. Then on the other side, we're working on the budget for 2023-2024, and that is that's trying to create a budget that has an absence of $6.5 to $7 million in resources, and that's the shortfall that we face next year. So we have these dual activities: on the one hand, information on the levy, but on the other hand, preparing a budget that shows the degree of loss, primarily in teaching staff, that is going to occur in 2023-2024 without additional resources. And we're doing it much the same as we did in the fall, very collaboratively, working very closely with our associations to make these very difficult decisions and to work with our campus administrators, our department directors on formulating up to $7 million in cuts for the following year. The main thing that we're seeing, without a doubt, is really harm to class sizes throughout the district. Every grade level, every school will experience dramatic increases in class sizes if we are in a position to enact that budget. So those are the first kind of learnings on how to do this exercise. We are still working on the different programs that stand to be cut and the different resources that the district has that we can no longer fund. Those will be formulated this month, and they will be coming out in that budget in early April. So we're doing these dual activities, and it's going as well as you can expect it to go, given the formidable challenge that we have to find $7 million in reductions in this district. And that's all I have for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Paisley, would you like to give us a report?
Yes, thank you. The last thing that we worked on was Bowman pageant, and that was in the end of February. And I'm pretty sure that excavation company are the ones that like cleared out all the snow so everybody could come watch that. And that was really helpful. Our goal was $35,000 and we ended up raising $45,000. So we're working on sending all that money to Kids Making Miracles and Dornbecker's Children's Hospital. And the next thing that we're working on is Spring Fest, the little like carnival thing that we just started last year. So that's going to be happening in May. And spring sports are all starting up. I think people, baseball and softball, like all the sports have games next week, tryouts for last week. And so we're just all looking forward to spring sports starting.
That's awesome. Thank you. All right. Do you have any reports to share with us?
Cool. I would like the spring weather to also come with those spring sports. Congrats to all the playoff teams that made it to the postseason, wrestlers and basketball and swimming, and congrats to them. I want to also let everyone know that this is Classified School Employees Week. So that includes for food services, custodial, admin assistants, education assistants. So I just want to highlight that, and I hope that you get a chance to say thank you to those individuals when you see them for all their hard work that they do all year long. They're kind of in the background sometimes and maybe don't get a thank you enough, but they are very much an integral part of this operation. So.
Director Lee?
Yeah, I was able to attend the 8th grade high school freshman orientation last week, and I just have to say what a wonderful buzz and excitement that was there. The kids walking around. We got to tour the high school and contemplated how my daughter would make it from one end to the other in the passing time, and as grand as it was, she was super excited. It was nice to see all the kids excited. And then to wrap it up, we went into the kind of middle area and where the cafeteria is and looked at all the wonderful programs and activities that are available and how exciting that is. It's quite unfortunate I could not sign up for any of them, which my daughter so lovingly said, counseled me to stop being weird and to move on. But it's really cool to see that a lot of the kids were engaging and signing up for all these really cool clubs that I'm jealous that I don't get to be a part of, but I will live vicariously through my children, hopefully. So I just want to say kudos to all the wonderful things. And it really is a testament to those programs and the value that it brings to these kids. So great job and all that you do.
I just want to thank the staff for the transparency of building, which is a tremendous amount of work to build a budget, but to build essentially two is just really incredible. But I
I appreciate the transparency of that so that our community will know as they make decisions this May about what that's going to look like either way. And I just think we owe it to our community to be honest, to be straightforward, to make sure that the consequences of a vote are clear, and so that there's no surprises. While I am certainly hoping the vote goes one way, I'm glad that we will be prepared in either event and offer this community what it's been asking for, which is more transparency. So thank you.
I just really want to say that in light of the coming months and the expected debate that's going to be happening over many things, but mostly the levy. You know, I just want to remind our community as they debate about this on social media that there are a lot of staff members who are feeling the weight of this to an incredible degree right now. The stress of the unknown. And as you're debating, and whether it's either complimenting how the district is handling things, or you know, if you have a bad opinion of how the district is handling things, to keep those staff members in mind when you do that, because they're seeing those comments, and to be having this weigh on them, and then also see some of the stuff that I've already seen. I just can't imagine really what that would feel like. So just a friendly reminder, and I agree, I'm ready for some spring weather. And Jeff, your kids will make it to class on time. Mine had the same concern and it all worked out. So.
All right. I don't have a ton to report either. I went to the same orientation and I almost was shocked by how my kid just ran in and just kind of disappeared and seemed to know people and teachers. And Sherwood is small in that sense, that teachers overlap with coaching and activities and all the things. And I thought, you should not walk into a school as an 8th grader and feel this comfortable. Just, you know, like you should be a little bit scared. And you walked in and just was like, see ya, I've got this thing. So anyhow, I'm very excited for that phase of life for him, but it will be a new world for sure. But it was run so well. I felt like Mr. Mitchell did a tremendous job explaining to all the kids what to expect and how to schedule and all the things. It was run very, very well. Yes, and back to the levy talk, because I can't get away from it. I know the district is working really hard on their end to address just educational pieces to what we have going on right now. But I'm working really hard on my end to campaign for the levy. That's what I'm going to be here to do for the next several months. And so while that's just begun, if there are people who are eagerly wanting to get involved with that campaign, I would love for them to reach out to me. Or if there's people who have questions or concerns or critiques, they can also reach out to me. I have yet to have a conversation and poorly with somebody who has a lot of concerns. So I'm here, my phone number is everywhere, my email is everywhere. And truthfully, I'm happy to take those calls and have all of those conversations. So please reach out to us with any questions you might have. All right. Well, that being said, we would normally move on to public comment, but we have none this evening. So we are going to remove that from our agenda. And we will move on. Let's see. Ms. Marlene Carroll, you're welcome to the podium for your second read of the integrated guidance application.
All right. Thank you, Board Chair Hawkins, board members, Dr. Lyon. Last month, we shared our integrated guidance application, which was the 6 grants from ODE, and the plan and the budget, and we shared it with you and the community. And tonight, we're looking to bring the integrated guidance application and budget for second read and approval. I got nothing.
Yes. Sorry, I'm looking for my paperwork. So never mind, I won't look for my paperwork. Is there a motion to approve?
Yes, Madam Chair, I move that we approve the integrated application and budget as presented for submission to the Oregon Department of Education.
I second.
See, you guys can do this all by yourself. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for hanging in there with me. And I don't even have to call Mr. Rose up to the podium. He just knows what's happening next. The floor is yours.
We are going to give Brady just a moment to pull up that slide deck, but in the meantime, good evening. Thank you, Chair Hawkins, Superintendent Lyon, members of the board. I'm here to discuss, as I do annually, the interdistrict transfers for our district. Hey. For those not familiar with it, interdistrict transfers are governed by House Bill 2747, which was passed in 2013. And basically, the legislature set forth the rules in which we are allowed to bring students from other districts into our schools or allow our students to exit elsewhere. And there are some constraints around it that they put in place, frankly, kind of very wisely. It has to be a non-discriminatory process. If there are more slots or more requests for slots than available, you go into a lottery process. There are some requirements of the students for remaining within the district, and those include attendance and behavior. We're not able to look at things like race, religion, disability, IEP status, any of those kinds of things. It's really kind of a blind process. We either allow students in or we don't, based on the number of slots that we open. We've previously used this as a budgeting tool, and frankly, very seldom did it prior to the opening of the new high school, just because we did not have the capacity to open it up. We did for a while do the high school, then we added middle school students, and then most recently we opened those up for elementary students. Our process is to, if the board approves it, to open those slots. They must remain open for an advertised amount of time and then awarded to the applicants. And again, if there are more applicants than slots, we go through a lottery process. If there are slots that are available after the time window closes, those can remain open until filled. The next slide is actually just kind of a reminder of our building capacities and then our current registrations. We included the 2 demographic projections from Davis Demographics. This is out of their draft report for this year. For next fall's enrollment projections and then the enrollment projections for 2032. One of the reasons that we have traditionally not opened a lot of slots at the younger grades was because of what we called the tail. And that was the idea that if you allowed a student in as early as kindergarten, they would be there with you for 13 years. And when we didn't have capacity at the high school for a lot of extra kids, that was kind of one of those reasons that we chose not to open early slots. This helps show why over the next 10 years or so, we are likely to have the capacity in our buildings to accommodate any additional students that we might bring in this year. So I'm going to move forward to our proposals. And by the way, if you have any questions, please stop me at any time.
Yes, I have a question.
Go for it.
On the previous slide, you talked about could you flip back to the previous slide?
That one? One
Yeah.
more. Okay.
So the requirements for remaining in the district, if you are considered a transfer student.
Mm-hmm.
So who is responsible for essentially enforcing these requirements? Are they being actively enforced right now? And who's responsible for enforcing them?
They are enforced, and it's kind of done with the schools and my office's kind of a joint effort to make sure that as we have students that might be bumping up against either one of these requirements, that it's being addressed.
Okay, so we have your assurances that it is being addressed when it happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. So we would again like to use this as a budgeting tool for us. And for this coming fall, what we're asking this evening is that we're able to open 30 slots at the kindergarten level and then 10 per grades for grades 1 through 5. That would open up 80 elementary student slots across the district. And we would let those students know in August where they would get to attend. And we'd base that on the capacity of buildings, because we of course want to make sure that we're accommodating students that live or move into our community before then. And then we would also make every effort to keep siblings together. So if you had a first and a fourth grader, we'd make sure that the capacity was there to move them to a particular school, so you don't split families or split kids up.
So, in terms of capacity, we're talking a lot about building capacity, but in terms of classroom capacity, I mean, we have a lot of unknown here that we're approaching as far as classroom sizes. That's already been discussed as a major concern. I guess I'm struggling to understand. I get the benefit financially of allowing and opening these slots. I guess you'll probably get to it, but when I look at what we're allowing out versus what we're allowing in, it doesn't, I love more information on that. But if we're already concerned about classroom capacity and classroom size, given whether or not we are unsure of this levy passing, then why is this a good idea now?
Well, for a couple of reasons. One, I mean, the big issue is in fact financial, and that if we open these up, we bring in revenue that we otherwise would not be able to. If you bring in enough of these students and we have a hotspot where you have a particular grade that might have more students in the classes than you'd typically like, then we can utilize those resources very selectively to address those issues. And that's also why we're waiting until August to decide where these students would go. And so we'd have the opportunity to find those class sizes that might be below our average and selectively address that by putting kids there. I will remind you that we opened 155 or 150 slots this year, and we had about 90 applicants that actually came in. And so while we are opening quite a number here, we are not planning or expecting for that full amount to be, for each of those slots to be filled.
May I add to that?
Absolutely.
Just briefly. So if we were to bring in 30 kindergarten students and we received about $10,000 per student, that's a significant amount of money, about far more than it would cost us to serve those students in terms of just teacher load. And so especially, even if we had to hire the teachers to serve them, but if we have a grade level with 24 kids in a class at say fourth grade, and we bring in 2 or 3 extra kids and they can go into that class, and you multiply that across the spectrum, this will save us from reducing more teachers than we would otherwise. This is a job saving practice that, in all honesty, should lower class sizes across the district by allowing us to hold on to more staff than we would otherwise.
Okay, so, I'm sorry. Oh, no, I was going to add to that. The other benefit that we've seen over time, if we waited until May, by then families are making decisions and assuming they're going to be in the district they're in. They're going to sign up for fall activities. They're going to make decisions about their lives. By opening these slots now, if folks are looking at, gosh, I'd really like to be in Sherwood because there's a million opportunities at the high school. There's we like the culture. We just can't afford a house here. Then they can right now start planning for that, and we'll know by the end of May, because they'll make decisions about their lives and transportation. And so that's why you do it at this time of year instead of waiting until almost the summer.
So the end result that is going to be, or the goal I should say, is generating the revenue while not overloading the class sizes, thus the teacher, and retention, correct? Not hiring new, but retaining who we have already.
That's correct. It's retaining as many people as we possibly have, which ultimately should keep class sizes across the board on average smaller than they would be otherwise. In fact, if you think about the 90 students we brought in this year, that's about $900,000 in revenue. And we didn't hire additional teachers because we had small class sizes, and we just absorbed those students and were able to have that revenue, which helped significantly with our budget situation. And those students will remain with us next year, which gives us that same funding. It helps us offset the loss of the students who disappeared during the pandemic. It's also part of the strategy.
I think too, I mean, without the levy, it's such a drastic, we're talking about such a drastic change versus like adding this many students versus how many teachers we'd have to cut, how many students that's impacted. I don't know how noticeable the impact of these kids coming in is to the student body versus like if we don't pass the levy and we lose all those teachers. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And maybe make that sound muddy.
So,
Clean that up for me.
well,
Thank you.
I'm gonna play that. I've been on the board a really long time and seen this kind of from both ends, conversation, if that's okay. I'm sorry, and Jim, I'm sorry I'm taking you off track here, but I remember taking a vote to tell charter school students that were in Sherwood who had planned their entire elementary careers. I'm looking at folks who remember this vote too. It was horrible. It was the worst thing that that I have had to do on this board, is to tell those students, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry that that was your plan, but we can't, there's no room in the high school. There's no room. And we've got to build a new high school, or we got to figure something out, but there's no room for you. And so we can't, you are Sherwood residents. We can't let you, or you might as well be, because you're in all of our sports teams. You've done all the things, and we can't let you matriculate to the high school. That was awful. And God knows, don't ever want to do that again. I think the thing that is always worth asking, worth watching, is the information that Jim has already given us, which is why I'm not asking these questions, because it's already up there. Like, what does it look like not only today, but when these kids come in, we make a commitment to them, to their educational career. So they're in Sherwood unless they cause one of the problems on the list. And so, you know, it's always a good idea to ask the question, what does this look like as time goes on? Are we ever going to have to tell a Sherwood, an actual Sherwood resident, that they're not able to take X or Y because we don't have enough capacity to do that? Those are excellent questions, because we got to that point in part because we had made commitments that we couldn't keep. And it ultimately dwindled down to not very many out of district kids. But it was an important question for us to ask. And eventually we were able to tell the charter school kids, like, until we have a new high school, we can't accept you into our district once you're done at the charter. And so I'm very, very glad that we are not in that position now. And B, I think that this, you know, we are a destination district, and having 90 new students, that's 90 additional families that are very invested in our community, that aren't, you know, may not live here, but are invested here. I think that's a good thing for the community and for the surrounding community, and hopefully they'll be able to move here and become residents here. But in the meantime, the fact that we have a net positive, so 30 out, but 90 in, you know, we net 60 in that. There are a lot of districts that are looking very opposite. And so that's, I think, the other thing to watch too, is what is that net number? Are we netting more than we let go? And then on the letting go side, what I would say about that is, even, you know, if somebody is midway through their junior year and their family, for whatever reason, needs to move to another town, or, you know, their family just moved to Sherwood, but they're midway through their junior or senior year, like, we still have to release that kid. Like, part of this 30 is releasing those kids to be able to finish their education where their home district is. And it's generally a matter of courtesy that districts do that for each other. Because if you keep a kid whose family, you know, it is technically here, but, you know, their home is in Tigard, like, they tend not to be very happy members of the class, because they want to graduate with their graduating class. That's very understandable. And so enabling folks to finish out their high school careers where they started, doing all of that tends to make for happier parents. And so when we were struggling for resources many years ago, we contemplated maybe we shut this down, but wisely, I think listened to what we were hearing in terms of what that looks like in terms of student experience, academic behavior, and wisely chose to keep the door open, because as long as we're net benefiting from this, it doesn't make sense to keep kids who do not want to be here.
Thank you. Excuse me. Back to our elementary, what we'd ask is that there's 80 students allowed to transfer in across the grades there. Moving on to the middle school, we'd ask for 10 students per grade for grades 6 through 8. So a total of 30 middle school students. At the high school level, because we see a bump often with the charter school and with students coming back from other educational opportunities or wanting to, we are asking for 20 at the 9th grade level. That tends to be our highest level request at the high school. And then 10 per grades 10 through 12th for a total of 50 students at the high school. And as Director Adamson suggested, we would like to ask to allow 30 students to transfer to other districts, just recognizing that some students have other educational opportunities that they'd like to pursue. With that, I would take questions, or there is a proposed motion on your agenda.
If there's no questions, do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the opening of the following interdistrict transfer slots into the Sherwood School District for the 2023-2024 school year as per the district administration's recommendations. 30 students at kindergarten, 10 students per grade at the elementary level, 10 students per grade at Sherwood Middle School, 20 students at 9th grade at Sherwood High School, 10 students per grades 10 through 12 at Sherwood High School. In addition, I move to approve that 30 students may transfer out of the Sherwood School District.
I second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that concludes our meeting for today. Our next meeting will be held on April 12th. We hope you guys are able to join us, although we can't promise that we'll be this short. Have a good night.